Good morning, everyone. Today we have a roundtable discussion over how AI is breaking down collaboration in modern information age, with specific focus on how deepfake and fake info are harming us. And eventually, we want to find a solution on how can we be unified again. So the current situation is that in social media, we have hyper-personalized algorithm that is tuned to show exactly what the algorithm wants to show you to enhance the engagement from you and the platform. There is also deepfake content as well as AI-generated content that make us even harder to find real information when we are checking on social media. And the lines between the real and fake content has blurred, and AI-generated content is are become one of the majority voices on the social media. So for this discussion, maybe we have Sanchi, the social activist, to voice her voice first.
Sure. Thank you so much, and very excited to have this opportunity to discuss, some of these concepts with you guys. So I want to start off a little bit by talking about the paradox of abundance, essentially, which is something we've discussed with the naive view of information, which is that just by assuming that we have a faster and larger volume of information doesn't actually mean that it's easier to get to the truth. And that's one of the struggles that everyone is constantly facing today, is because there's so many news outlets or so many media channels, to the point where you actually don't know whether the footage, whether the content that they're reporting is actually true, or the extent to which it is grounded in reality and fact. Another issue, and something that Wesley pointed out, was also hyper-personalization and algorithms. And this is doing is essentially it's exacerbating the echo chamber and filter bubble effect. And this makes us even more polarized, essentially, because it's harder for us to understand each other's opinions, as our algorithms are essentially reinforcing our own opinions and exacerbating the confirmation bias effect. So this is a really interesting forum and opportunity for us to discuss the current landscape and ways that we all can work together to preserve truth and collaboration. Thank you.
Maybe we will have Jackie.
Okay, yes, thanks for having me. As the CEO of an AI tech company, I want to start with an uncomfortable admission. We have shaped the tools that genuinely boost the productivity, but they are also quietly shaping how we communicate. And the communication we shape are not for better. In what we observed, in 2024, around 78% of the organizations reported using some forms of AI, up from 55% just a year before. Surveys suggest roughly one quarter of workers already use generative AI in their work. At the same time, 63% of the employees say they waste time because of poor communication and collaboration. So we have more tools, more automation, but not a better communication that we observe. So I'm going to observe anyway for better collaboration in this meeting.
Maybe we have Felix.
Yes, thank you for having me. And I'm the educator. So the point that I would like to say is that after entering information age, we have actually observed that the students nowadays are unable to accurately, to filter out the false information or to grasp the correct information and content, because the critical thinking skills is now weakening and thus making them becoming more vulnerable to false information. And in nowadays, teachers are also cannot distinguish whether they're using AI in finishing their work. Even though schools have AI checking tools, it can sometimes go wrong and misunderstand the students. However, the students can hardly provide evidence that they're really doing their work themselves, and thus causing hate among them towards schools and teachers. Also, the internet has been a bed for the existence of radical and false information. AI learning, and AI learns from the internet, and this has eventually catalyzed the speed of reach of false information to students. And one of the aims of education is to instill a correct moral and social values among students before they grow up, as they are more easily exposed to such unhealthy information under the influence of AI. Schools can now hardly correct one person's mindset. If more and more students get brainwashed when they're small, the consequence would be unimaginable. So these are the issues with the application of AI in education that we, the educators, have observed nowadays. Thank you.
Thank you, Felix. Now we have James.
Yes, as a Hong Kong citizens, it's happy that AI is changing the way we work and brings us conveniences, but it also brings false informations that we can't that we can't justify. The challenge of interest and deep forgery. These technologies are misused to create divisions, just as some human-computer collaboration should be argument human capabilities rather than replacements. Also, the proliferation of false information and deep forgery does make social collaboration difficult. People began to doubt what they saw and heard and no longer trust each other. So this is a very important thing that we have to solve it. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, James. Now, after the inputs about the current issues among different shareholders, maybe the next part of our roundtable is to focus on how can we bring us everyone to unify again and to bring trust and to alleviate divisions, maybe starting from Sanchi.
Yes, of course. So again, as a social activist, I think there's three key areas that I feel that people myself and organizations like the ones that I represent can really focus on. Firstly, it's to act as essentially a bridge between various stakeholder groups to promote transparency and media literacy. So working with tech companies as well as schools to better understand their needs, like for example with Felix, who represents education and the education system largely. We also want to focus on partnering with companies that focus on verification and fact-checking technology to gain market share and to combat misinformation, essentially. And the third thing that we believe that social activism can help us with is to advocate with government groups in order to ensure that the regulation and policies are more stringent to avoid misinformation from flourishing and increasing the accountability that we have from the media and journalism outlets. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Jackie.
Yes, I think Sanchi, who represents social activists, raised a really good point, is the design for transparency. So I think AI builder and cooperate leaders such as me can rebuild the collaboration in this way. Our product should label the AI-generated content clearly and show who edited what and make it easier to trace how decision was made. Internally, we have adopted a rule that any AI output used in an important decision must be reviewed and signed off at least by two people from different teams. And I think this will be good for the collaboration too.
Thank you. Now we have Felix. Maybe you could give a short solution towards how you think we could bring back unity in school.
Yeah, sure. Well, in my point of view, I think the mode of the education should now be changed because instead of instilling knowledge to students, the social experience of students should not be looked down upon anymore, especially in nowadays. So I think more outdoor activities should be held to broaden students' horizons, so as to lower the chance of being encouraged to be cynical by the radical thoughts online. And the proportion of human and societal and the societal education should be increased so as to let students understand how the society actually works. And the importance of the government should also be taught so that they can look at the world situation more objectively and critically.
Thank you.
Um,
Maybe finally, we will have James to wrap up this meeting.
Yeah, so we have some specific actions that Hong Kong citizens can do. Firstly is some cultivate critical thinking, that we need to keep insight and deep thinking on social issues before receiving the information, and us feel more wise to check the sources. Also, we can support the reliable media, such as choosing those media with the rigorous fact-checking processes and avoid just looking at the title party. So maybe the report on the Hong Kong's new Legislative Council election shows how responsible media can promote social understanding. And we can also participate in community activities. So in the concept of citizens build a better tomorrow, community interaction is the key. Joining the local volunteer organizations and participating on community services can help us to establish real connections. Lastly, we have the rational discussions on the social media. When you see there's some controversial content, first think about what constructive content that I can bring in these discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. This is the end of our roundtable.